And quite frankly, it's been terrible. It's been embarrassing, and yeah, we have to improve right now.
Very strong words there from Kasper Schmeichel. We've got Christopher on Skype from Houston in America. Kasper Schmeichel, very, very strong. He says they're embarrassed by their form at the moment. As a fan, do you feel the same?
Yeah, I do. I feel the same because it's annoying, and it's also frustrating not to live after being a champion to be struggling in the relegation zone, you know. But they're not new to relegation zone, because before last season they also found themselves in this situation, which they came out before they won the league the other season.
When you look at the team at the moment, what do you see as the differences, the key differences to last season? What's wrong with Leicester at the moment?
Okay, well, there's some technical differences, you know. Statistics don't lie, because also the formation of play, I think it needs to be, is been changed a little bit, because last season, if you notice, Leicester more played a 4-4-2 formation, whereby last season Leicester played 4-4-2 formation, but actually it was a 4-3-3 formation, because you saw Kazaki and Mahrez joining Vardy up front, you know, and this only worked because Conte and Drinkwater kept their shape in the center of the midfield, and Danny covered for Mahrez, and Albrighton stayed wide left, hitting long balls from a deeper position. But this has not worked because of the loss of Conte. You see, when Conte was playing, Conte covered more range in the midfield to pick up those loose balls. But Amartey and King have not been able to fit into that position. They have been more flat-footed in the midfield, not covering those wide positions. And that's why Conte is also doing very well in Chelsea. If you notice, he picks up those loose balls, and those loose balls are the ones that create the difference, because when he was in Leicester, he picks up the loose balls and the ball goes straight to either Albrighton or Mahrez, and the long ball goes straight to Vardy, and pow, it's a goal. But this has not worked this season. He's not forcing Leicester to play a tip-tap football, passing the ball. That's not their style, you know, and that's what has really made them struggle this season up front, and goals are not coming.
Yeah, Danny, Christopher's clearly very passionate about this and very well informed as well. He's got a real opinion on it. In your mind, we heard Kasper Schmeichel reacting to it before, about the players not playing for Ranieri. Is that a thing? Do you see that, or are we making too much of that? Are people making too much of it?
I wouldn't say they're not playing for him. I think they're still working hard enough as a team, but something certainly isn't right. Whether it's in the dressing room, I'm not so sure. But last season, Leicester were doing the basics really, really well. They were defending well. If balls came in the box, Robert Huth or Wes Morgan, they were first to everything. As Chris says there, midfield-wise, Kante, they were probably the best in the league last season at winning the ball back, and then they were counter-attack teams. You had Mahrez then, Vardy, who were, you know, individually very good, could win games on their own, and none of that's happening this season. No. So the man of the goals they've conceded, the Mkhitaryan goal on the weekend, Robert Huth gets done way too easily. He's through on goal and he scores. That wasn't happening last season, so it's about getting back and doing the basics well, and I think the players have to take responsibility more than the manager. I think Ranieri's tried everything, changes of formation, changes of personnel, and just can't seem to get them going.
Christopher, just to bring you back in here, are we allowed to question Claudio Ranieri's future? Is it a bit too soon to be doing that? You know, what do you see? How do you see it as a Leicester fan? How does this change? How does this story end?
Okay, well, honestly, you see, the only constant thing in life is change, you know, so it's not out of point for Ranieri to be replaced, no doubt. But I also believe the players have a lot to contribute in this, because I don't know what's going on there. You know, I know they're playing in the Champions League now, and a lot of attention is divided to the Champions League, but also to be 2 points away from relegation zone is uncalled for, because these are the same players that won the EPL League last season, apart from Conte. I know Conte is a big difference, but Conte should not be the one to rule their destinies indirectly, you know what I mean? Because the boys are not just playing, they're not just playing like they should play. Because last season, in 12 games, the first 12 games of last season, Leicester made 467 interceptions. But this season, 12 games this season, they've made only 174 interceptions. Over the course of last season, they made over 22.9 tackles per game. And this season, they've made only 16.7. What's going on? It's the same players. Come on, what's going on
is you're doing your research. This is fantastic, isn't it?
They have to get him on the show.
I know you get a job as a statistician in here, mate. It's superb.
So Chris, how important is the game on the weekend now against Swansea? Obviously, you know, their form's picked up under Paul Clement. How big is this game now on the weekend against them?
It's very big. I know. I think we're gonna. I know we're gonna win again. No, I think we're gonna win again because the boys, I believe, they're talking to themselves and they have to. They just have to step up the game because there's no excuse for this. There's no excuse for this. They just have to step up. They are the same players. They are champions. They should play like champions and lift their heads high and get off this relegation embarrassing situation they find themselves in. It's embarrassing for them too as well. You get Casper said just now that it's embarrassing and frustrating because for the right now they're supposed to have left a certain level of players. They are Premier League champions. So whether you like it or not, they are already champions.
Yeah.
So they should have the heart of a champion to clean up this shame and get off this mess and put their ass together and be where they ought to be. Even though at least, but relegation out of it, they have to fight out the relegation. That's what I think is going to happen. And they will do that. I'm confident that they will get off relegation. So I'm confident about that.
Okay, fingers crossed for you, Christopher. Thank you very much for being in touch. Disgruntled Leicester fan there. Lots going wrong, of course, this season for the champions. We're going to take a break now, though.